We have enough data from people who do things like you to say that, yes, you are not the norm with your follow through result. Many more accountants are initiating follow throughs. So they're the other end of that spectrum. They're more like a 7 than a 3. So they're about systems and structure and organization, creating one and sticking with the ones that are already there. So when that's the cultural, in this case, then a kind of the professional culture that you live in, it, there's kind of an expectation. You can make it work, and you already have, so I don't need to tell you this, but you and one can make it work where you are different than the rest because you stand out, frankly. And again, with the confidence of, hey, I stand out, and that's generally a good thing. Might it cause some issues? Yeah, but those are fixable. And in the meantime, I'm different than those other people. So when you think about getting clients, you can get clients that maybe other people are unlikely to get because you will appeal to those people who are maybe also not so systematic and structured. And you can say, hey, I know you need that with some of your financial life, and I'll help you do that. But I also understand you're never going to be, you client are never going to be that super organized and structured person. And that's okay.
And I think actually now that you're saying that, I never even thought of it that way, but for a lot of clients, like they'll have like or a lot of peers of mine when they're working with you clients, it's like they have a lot of intake and a lot of exercises that they have people do. They want them to track all their spending. And I'm like, no, first of all, I don't want to look at everybody's spending. I'm more of like, okay, I don't care what you spend it on. Your spending is your spending. It's like, let me meet them where they're at. Like, and if I can even help them as part of a session, it's like, okay, well, you only got me half your stuff. Can we like log in now and pull some of the things that we need? And what can we do now that's going to make the biggest impact, right? So like, yeah, I could do these other things, but like if you're not going to get me that information or you're not going to set that stuff up, it's like, well, what's gonna give you the highest impact that's gonna make a real big difference? I'm not gonna not do what needs to be done because I'm waiting on you to do crazy spreadsheet that this person's never gonna do.
Yeah. Where a lot of people in your industry would basically say, I'm not taking that first meeting until all the boxes have been
Yeah.
checked.
Yeah.
And look, if that works for them, that's great. That will turn off some clients. I'm a big believer in, if you want to attract a broad range of clients, and sometimes you don't, sometimes like, hey, I know who I appeal to. There are enough of those people in the world that I don't need to get people outside of my sweet spot. But even if you think about it, I imagine you work with couples a lot or
Mhm.
businesses where there are multiple partners. I mean,
Mhm.
in other words, it's not just one person.
Right.
So you're going to have, even if you really do target a particular kind of client that you work best with, there's still going to be some people who don't fit because they come as a package.
Mhm.
So you can do some of both. It's like where you sense, hey, one of the partners or one of the people in the couple, whether it's personal and professional, um, one of them really is that systematic structured person. So if they see that I'm more open-ended and adaptable, that they may not feel comfortable, you can change it enough so that you reassure them like, hey, we've got our systems in place, everything is going to run on track. you know at the same time, I'm also open-ended and adaptable enough that I'm going to make this work for both of you.
Yeah, and I think that what's interesting too is like when I look at the 3 on follow through and then the 3 on the I put what's that
Implementer.
implementer? Yeah. So I'll have other peers and as part of their plan that they make for people, they'll do like a full PDF, 100-page document. And I said in a study group I was in, I was like, that would kill me if I had to put together a 100-page document. And they were like, how do you not do that? I'm like, because we have a program and I meet with the clients and I put all this stuff in there and then I kind of let it go where they want it to go. Like I have things I want to cover, but I'm very adaptable on like something may come up and I give them the space to talk. And then all of a sudden they're talking about telling their spouse, well, you know what, for 20th anniversary, I've always wanted to go on this, a Mediterranean cruise and I never even told you about it. And now all of a sudden we're talking about that, which I think is a lot more meaningful than sticking with the plan of how it was supposed to go and handing them this document. And now we can really be adaptable. But I think it might stress some people out to be that open-ended in a meeting and not really know what's going to happen.
Oh, it would definitely stress a lot of people out, but it doesn't you, and that's kind of the point. And here's the other thing: those other people who need that more formalized plan and process, they might get to the same kinds of things, but for them, they'll get to it because they ask all of these questions. And some clients will respond well, a lot of clients. So some of this is also with Fact Finder. So, you're a data intensive person. So you need information and details. The way you get it will be less structured. So as you're saying, I'm going to interview them. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions and I'll figure out which are the important things. And it's going to be a conversation, not just oh, do all this stuff. And I don't deviate from my checklist. With you do that. So your approach to getting the information is different than a lot of people in your industry, but you get the information. Um, and I think you can sell that to your clients and potential clients. Hey, there are other advisors you can work with who are, look, they're not just thorough, because you're very thorough with your 7 in Fact Finder. They're systematic and structured and organized, and you can sell to the people who are maybe more like you. Here's my process. I'm going to get all the information. It's going to happen in a way where you're not even knowing it some of the times, because we're going to have a conversation and I'm going to ask you the questions that I need answers to. But because it's a conversation and I don't just have a pre-selected list of questions that are the same for everybody, I'm going to realize I need to delve deeper in some areas with you than I might some other client. And you can tell them that. And especially if you sense that one or more of the people you're working with are initiating follow-throughs, you can reassure them that you do have a process. Your process is more of this interview-driven, open-ended, adaptable one. A lot of follow-throughs don't see that as a process until they're told that's the process. And they're like, oh, okay, I get it. And I love that you're going to go deeper with me where that's appropriate. So you can tell people that. All right, I want to get back to something you talked about, and I alluded to earlier too. You want to build out your team. And we talked about your strength of being open-ended and adaptable, that multitasking hero. Yes, I do want to acknowledge, by the way, that's not always seen as a positive with any of the 4 action modes, and we'll go into them a little bit deeper. With all of them, it's those lower numbers, the counteracting strengths, where you're often not recognized as that being a strength. So for you, your strength and follow through being open-ended and adaptable, it's more likely, especially when you were younger, it's like, why don't you just stick with the plan?
Oh
Why
my
don't you
god.
finish
My
everything
mom,
you start?
my whole life, is be like, "Alex, you always start 100 things and you never finish them." My husband, when we first started dating, he called this one area of my house, is like, "This is hobby corner," and had like 50 different hobby equipments in there. And you add the follow through with the high quick start, and it's like, oh boy, you're really doing a lot of stuff and it's really getting out of control fast.
Yeah, and so that's you, as you're saying, it goes back all the way to you as a kid. It's not that you learned this along the way. It was just baked into you. Let's talk just a little bit about your quick start. This is another thing. So initiating quick starts need real deadlines, not fake ones. So I'm sure you have tried to set up, like make yourself do things with fake deadlines. And I even earlier said, just do things immediately, which is a little bit of a fake deadline. They don't always need to be done immediately, but that can also be a habit. Like if you just get in the habit of needs to be done, do it. That's a better approach for you. But you should, well, here's a better way to put it. It's natural for you and it's fine for you to wait until things really are urgent and it's on a real deadline. Like I have that meeting with the client in 2 hours. I can't put it off anymore. You've been doing this long enough that you know what that time frame is. So if it's 2 hours before the client's there and that's enough time to look at the briefing documents that they've already given you, that's fine. People earlier in their career, one of the problem with your Kolbe results, one of the things that can pop up is they think they can put stuff off longer. They don't get a sense of urgency quite soon enough. And then they hit a deadline. It's like, I don't have enough time to finish all the stuff that really needs to be done.
Yeah, yeah.
You've made those mistakes already. You've learned from them. So I'm not particularly worried about that happening to you. if anything, it would be more just communicating to other people because they'll panic. Like, so your business partner, make sure, is it a he or a she?
A he.
He, make sure he knows, and he may already, you guys might have worked together long enough. Just tell them ahead of time, hey, I know that meeting is tomorrow morning. I'm on top of everything. And on top of it, for you might mean I haven't done anything, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to do it tonight at 10 o'clock when the kids are in bed. But in the meantime, he knows you haven't forgotten about it. He trusts, he's seen you do it enough times, but that if he's an initiating follow through or a counteract quick start. So like thinking of your husband. So maybe at a personal level, it's, he will be uncomfortable when things get put off too long. His sense of urgency is going to kick in 2 weeks before yours does. But if you communicate to him, I know that's coming up, I am not going to put it off too long, that will help the situation.